We are live.
Live.
Take 3000. Way too many technical issues. But anyways, welcome back to the On3 podcast, everyone. We are back. I got Saul Goodman, Navnod the rapper, and we are virtual.
Yeah, look at that.
No more in person. What is this? This is like back in COVID times. What's going on?
What was our thought process for that?
I just saw you too much. I think I needed some distance from you, some space.
I don't think it was the same for me. It's kind of awkward looking you at a screen, but quality's banging, so I'm kind of go with it.
Yeah. As we say, new year, new me, right? New year, new podcast.
Are we actually going? No. This whole New Year thing, bro. Oh my God, come on.
Yeah.
You want
by the way,
time?
Happy New Year on the pod to our two listeners, whoever they are.
Yep. Happy New Year to you guys.
But yeah, I mean, the theme of our episode today is not actually New Year, New Me, because we don't do that here, right?
No, we don't. It's not all about the change. Sometimes I think you got to change up the perspective a little bit. Instead of thinking about what to change in your life, I think, sometimes you got to think about what to actually keep.
That's very well put together. So the way we call it, this isn't a resolution episode. It's a new year, but we want to talk about, even in the new year, what's worth keeping. Life is not always just about changing. Life is also about appreciating the good things in life. It's about, being better every day, not just on the new year. And so there are certain things we are keeping, and maybe certain things we'll let go, but we're not thinking about that today.
Yeah. Tell me about this. Doesn't it feel like January's like one of those only months where like people feel guilty like for being human? Like we have this like weird collective delusion where we all wake up and go, okay, this is it. New year, new me. And I'm like, whoa, like all of a sudden, like how? Is it realistic?
You know what happens? You always have these resolutions for every January. You set all these resolutions that, you're going to be a different person. You're going to exercise. You're going to sleep on time. You're going to read like 3,000 books a month. And then February rolls around and you're still the same guy, just colder.
Exactly. Bro, I think Toronto, I don't know how it is for like other big cities around the world when it comes to like New Year's, but like Toronto humbles you real quick. Bro, it's cold as shit out here. Buses running on a late schedule. Like for us to do what like another person in the part of the world where like it's a bit hotter or like, not what we have to deal with, like completely different situation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but this year, it started since December. The snow has been crazy. If you live in Toronto, like we get snow, but not like this. And also, I recently moved into a new house, and this is my first time actually full-time living in a house.
Wow.
So having to shovel that shit, having to shovel that driveway, bruh, why didn't anyone warn me that this is what it's like? Like, I'd shovel in the morning, and then it would snow again throughout the day, and then at night, I'm like, you know what, fuck this. Like, if you slip and fall, sue me.
I think winter, like, definitely exaggerates, like, all those things, doubt, loneliness, impatience, and all of that. And then New Year kicks around, and, like, I feel like it's, like, perfectly positioned for people that, like, need it. But then in reality, like, you have all these goals and things that you're setting, but, like, do you really have the bandwidth to, like, address it then, like, right away? Like, it's sort of unrealistic, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I feel like we live in a city, the great city of Toronto, has a lot of great things. My favorite city in the world, no matter what other city I've traveled to. But there are certain things about Toronto that we do have to call out. I feel like Toronto has a very career-first culture. There's a lot of silent competition between people because, when you're in a cutthroat city like this, you got to do things to get ahead in life. And when you go downtown and stuff like that, everyone looks busy, but few people look fulfilled. That's my take, at least. I don't know about you.
Bro, going through my 20s and like, now, yeah, whatever, you can say it, 30. Bro, on paper, you're like, look, you look good, job's decent, you're not broke, but you're like, you're still not comfortable. And that's what I mean. Toronto really humbles you real quick because you got like, you look at everything going around you. There's like people networking with each other. You got like engagements and weddings like every other weekend. There's always something going on.
That word, networking.
Yeah, I know you do. But you're always surrounded by people that are looking like they're trying to figure it out. And obviously someone that's looking at that, like, you're like, shit, I got to figure it out too.
Yeah. And everyone's just trying to run this race, I feel like. And maybe it's not specific to Toronto. Maybe it's just the reality of the day and age we live in right now, because you have so much comparison. Like, you look at social media and the first thing you see are like people with 6-pack abs, or like these, or your friends like traveling, going to all these exotic places, getting married, having kids, I don't know, adopting a dog even. And or like you go on LinkedIn and you see all these LinkedIn updates for people who are like getting a promotion. And at our age, some people are making director at this age. Some and people are like launching different businesses. And you're always like, shit, like, am I behind in life? And if I am, how I gotta use the new year to get back into the grind of it. And like that's great. That has its place in it. And I feel like everyone should strive to be better. But I feel like that's coming at the cost of us being in the moment and truly appreciating life and being grateful for the life we have and being grateful for all the things around us that do give us a fulfilling life.
Yeah, I think you said it spot on. Like, I think when that time of year comes and you look at everybody, I think there is this illusion that you feel you're behind, but I don't truly think everyone is in reality behind. I think they're just watching everyone's highlight reels. I think more than anything, you're not lost. You're like, you feel unreflected.
I think that's the thing. I think so I was you were looking at everyone's highlight reel, and no matter what you say, everyone's life has challenges in it, and everyone's life has great things going on. And different periods in people's lives have different moments that are highs and different moments that are lows. And it might not always be January that's a high. It
Exactly.
might be other times during the year. And I know I think as humans psychologically, we always need that like set point in time where you do a hard reset or you can look back and be like, hey, up until this day, I'm still gonna sit on my couch and not do anything. But after this day, I swear I'm gonna change. But that's not how change really happens. Try
Not
if
even
you're really trying
close,
to
bro.
change, the best time to change was yesterday, not on January 1st, not on January the 2nd. The best time to change is the moment you feel like you need a change. And if you're giving yourself the time up until, yeah, I'm going to do it on this arbitrary date that people set. Like at the end of the day, what is January 1st? Like it's a day on the calendar that people have agreed is a new year. Like any other day could have been a new year. You look at any other calendar, not just the I don't know what it's a Christian calendar, right? It's what we call it, like the what most of the world follow. But there are
Yeah.
other calendars in the world. Like Islam follows the lunar calendar. Um, where I'm from, Bangladesh, we have our own Bengali calendar. So those have other start dates. So what
There's a
makes
Bengali calendar out there?
there is a Bengali calendar, and yeah, it's a
Damn.
pretty big deal. We celebrate New Year pretty big actually. The Bengali New Year. It's like a whole celebration. It's called Pahela
Damn.
Boishak. Look it up. But like that's the thing. Like it's an arbitrary date that people set, and if you're waiting for that arbitrary date to come and make changes in your life, I don't think that's ever going to happen. If you want change in your life, it has to happen today. The moment you think about it, that's the best time to change. And
Facts.
the way you change is through daily habits, not through this one day coming and changing everything about you. You start the change today and set an intention every day that, hey, I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow and the day after and the day after.
Exactly. Like growth, change, as you alluded to, these aren't things that just come about. They're more or less, in most situations, they're progressive over time, right? And this culture of like self improvement, it's under the assumption that you have like unlimited energy. Like, for example, people that are in like, let's say they're mid to late 20s, you got responsibilities now. Guy, you own a home. You can speak to it first. Like it's not the same bandwidth that you had that you was in your early 20s trying to think you could squeeze everything into one, right? You got all these things, responsibilities that you have now, and now you're supposed to somehow like be so ambitious with your change and just go ahead and do it. It's not how it works. And yeah, as you alluded to, like real change, it requires you to show up, number one, and be disciplined enough to know that started today or should have started yesterday.
Yeah. And I think the biggest detriment I see to people wanting to change on Jan 1st is, as I mentioned earlier, is people are just not in the present anymore. And like, I think you and I have talked about this. Like, we started this episode off by saying on social media, you see all these different faces, all these different pictures, and you mentioned it's a highlight reel. It's not real. If you look at a highlight reel of LeBron James, who's always dunking, or Steph Curry, who's always bombing 3-foot threes, if he was to do that every single play, he'd be a garbage player. I mean, Steph maybe not, but LeBron trying to dunk at the age of 40 every single play, that ain't happening. Or maybe
Exactly.
it still is. I don't know. LeBron's a freak. But you can't. That's not something happens. Steph has a lot of times when he's going 0 for 10, but guess what? Shoot or shoot, he's still going to keep shooting. He's not going
Exactly.
to let that discourage him from shooting the next game.
You know what? To simply put it, this whole New Year energy, sometimes it feels more like just anxiety in like a nicer font. That's what it feels like.
It's anxiety, and anxiety comes from comparison, where you're comparing yourself to your peers and other people. and even comparing yourself to your own potential, like you thought you're capable of something and you haven't, you feel out of control because you haven't achieved those same things. I think it's a bit of that. New Year's resolution is, it's a desperate attempt for people to take back control of their life. I get that. So I heard this one thing, which is like meaning and purpose. Like having a meaningful life, it's not just about you finding a purpose, it's more so you making the choices to steer your life in a certain direction. And when you do that, no matter which direction it is, as long as you're making the choice, you find meaning in that. And so what I think happens is a lot of people, they just let life happen to them, including like us a lot of times. And life happening to you is like, hey, at work, my boss told me to do this, so now I got to do it. That is kind of life happening to you. Just let it happen to you. Or the society expects something of me, so now I got to do it. Like society expects me to get married by 27. So now I got to do it. That's also letting life happen to you, as opposed to you controlling, you making the choices for your own life. And when you make the choices for your own life, as in, hey, this is something I enjoy doing. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna do it. That is making a choice for your own life. And when you do those things, when you make that choice, consciously make that choice about your own life, that's when you feel life is meaningful. Okay, when January comes around and you're making the choice, I'm gonna improve, I'm gonna get better as a person, and you do the hard thing, you're making a choice to do the hard thing, you want to feel more accomplished. But I feel like if you haven't set up the foundation to follow through with those commitments you're making and the resolution you're making, you're not going to change. And not only that, you don't always have to change. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like an even bigger thing that people should be doing, instead of doing New Year's resolutions and thinking about what they can change, is also think about what you can keep. Like, what are the things in my life that are great? What are the things in my life that I'm grateful for? What are the things that I do that I'm proud of, that I want to keep into the new year? And I think that's an even more worthy exercise, because you give yourself room to recognize yourself, to appreciate yourself, to appreciate the good things about your life. And I truly believe when you put that energy out there, when you see the good in your life, it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you see the good in your life, the more you see the good that you're doing, the more good things happen to you, just because of the way you positively lead life. And
I look at it two ways. I think there's this spectrum of like being curious and then stability. Do you think you lose the element of stability?
but I don't know if you're losing stability though. I think when people feel most unstable, when they feel like life is happening to them, even if it's a stable life, even if you have things that are set up and everything's just going, but if you're just letting life happen to you and you're not following through with your curiosity, with things that you want to do, you're never gonna feel grounded in life, because at the end of the day, you're not the one who put yourself there, or at least you feel like you're not the one who put yourself there. Like
Yeah, I can.
if you only chose a career, if you only chose a path in life, whether in your personal life, professional life, whatever it is, because it was expected of you and you just did what was the best expectation for someone in your community, in your society, someone your age, and you just been doing that all your life, you're always going to feel underneath that this isn't the choice you made. This isn't the life you chose for yourself. And if you have that feeling always in the back of your mind, how are you really stable? Because in your mind, you're always going to feel like you never fulfilled your potential.
Yeah, I think as time progressed, I kind of realized that like stability is good, but being overstable, like I think that's one of the first signs of like emotional burnout. Someone being
Being
overstable,
overstable is being comfortable.
exactly, and that's you're losing curiosity at that point. The thing that made you interesting before you became this quote unquote professional in your 20s. So it's like, how do you bring curiosity back into your life?
Bringing curiosity back into life, it's not even about curiosity. It's just about taking on challenging things that you choose to do yourself. If you take on challenges and you chose to take on that challenge and you follow through with that challenge, that's how you stay in control of your life. So this year we both, I mean, I know I have, and I think you are going to too, sign up for a marathon.
Yes, I will
I'm
be.
putting it out there. So there's no going back. There's no going back to it
This
now.
this is
We
coming for
both
two
got to do
guys
it.
that have never ran a marathon, haven't done any sort
Never
of
ran a
endurance,
marathon, have chronic
no
knee issues. Yes.
training. Our only form of cardio is probably
Anyways, the fact that we chose to do it, and like for me already, like I've come up with a training plan with ChatGPT, of course, our best friend, and come up with a training plan, and I've been following that plan every single day over the past week since I signed up. Again, this was not for New Year's resolution. I've been thinking about doing a marathon for a long time, and that's like a challenge that I've taken on to like it's like a hard thing that I want to do. And the fact that I've designed my day around my training for that marathon that's happening 9 months from now, but it kind of impacts everything. Like it impacts my diet, it impacts how I train, when I train, it impacts like how if I'm sleeping enough because I got to make sure I sleep properly to recover. But it's a hard thing I chose to do, and so I feel so much more in control of my life. Where it's like all these things I've planned are around this challenge that I've taken on, and I'm gonna achieve. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to achieve that goal, and because of that, I'm so much more in control of life. Like the easiest thing would have been to just be comfortable. Like, hey, I play basketball once a week. I play soccer once a week. I'm good
Yeah.
with my fitness. Like I'm a pretty active guy. And so I'm comfortable. I enjoy basketball. Other times of the day, I just either sit at home, spend time with my friends, or watch TV. That would have been the comfortable, stable thing to do. Those things also make me happy. But that to me felt like just letting life pass by without doing something to actually just challenge myself. And so I was like, hey, let's sign up for a marathon. Let's see how it goes. And
Yeah. So
already in a week, the amount of mentally the changes I'm noticing just through taking on that challenge and agreeing and wanting to do that hard thing has been enormous. And I'm just so excited to see what how else it affects me over the next 8-9 months.
yeah, that's a very good example because that's not necessarily a change that you did. It's actually being self-aware of what was going on before and it's taking upon a new thing.
What we've been talking about is instead of changing, what are the things you want to keep? And so what we want to say is number one, keep your curiosity. As long as you're curious, you want to try different things, you're gonna grow as a person. It doesn't have to happen on January 1st. It can happen at any time of the year. Keep your curiosity, keep trying to try new things, keep exploring new things, and you are going to grow as a person.
Yeah, I reiterate that again. I think curiosity, it's basically the difference between, I would say, for someone that's just surviving or going through life and the someone that's actively participating in it. So I think you just kind of alluded that to what you've been doing with the marathon. And I hope I can kind of jump on that. So that's the part of like someone doing something within just the element of themselves. Let's get to the next part where it goes to the people around you, right? That can also
Uh-huh.
be an element of, what to keep and what to change. You have responsibilities. Time is always in crunch. How do you manage and keep the people aspect of your life always healthy?
I think keep the people you love, keep the people who give you I don't know, who give you life. Like you guys give me life. You, our other
Wow.
bestie, our other bestie, yeah, hashtag Kazibai, shout out. Um, and the other close friends I have in my life. That is truly what makes life worth living, including obviously family, my wife. And without people, there's no point to life. Without the people you love. So one thing you should never do in whether it's in a new year or ever is forget the people you love. I've been reading a lot of articles on happiness, listen to
You
podcasts,
have.
obviously.
Okay.
Yes. And the number one indicator to happiness in many different research studies, and even when you ask old people, the number one indicator to happiness is if you've had people around you that you love. It doesn't just have to be family. I
Yeah.
feel like in brown culture, especially in brown culture, I feel we put a lot of emphasis on family, which is great. Like, our grandparents at that old age, they want to be around their grandchildren, they want to be around their kids, which is all great. But being around the people you love doesn't just have to be around family. Friends and your community, I truly feel, are a big part of the people you love. And if you're not cultivating those relationships, then you're not living a meaningful life. And friendships can happen anytime. Friendships just doesn't mean holding on to the friends I've had since high school. You can make new friends anytime and become very close to them. And if you move into a new neighborhood, get close to your neighbors. And you never know which of those people can become your lifelong friends. So it's just about keeping the people you love, keeping the people who know the real you,
Ooh,
because
I like
obviously
that. I like that.
yeah, because I mean, obviously, if you meet new people, a lot of times you do have to, like, we all do this. We put on a mask, different
Hmm.
masks for different crowds. But among all that, there are people who know the real you. So obviously, keep the people who know the real you. Friends that you don't have to impress. Like you're not trying to put on a show for them. You're not trying to
That just sounds so
show
time
off to anyone.
consuming. When you're on a time crunch as you move forward, that just sounds like something that's just going to consume your time and energy. you've kind of seen this as well. Like over time, you kind of think that your circle is shrinking. I just think it's filtration. It's just you
Yep.
filtering down to the right core of people that you can anchor, and they anchor you, or whatever that identity means, right? And
Yep.
you know what? You know, was a hard truth over time. I think friendships specifically sometimes they don't end because of conflict. I think they just end because of misalignment.
Yeah. Sometimes it's true. You do have to let friends go who are toxic. Not friends, anyone in your life. It could be
Yeah.
friends, family members, whatever it is, coworkers. You do have to let people go who are toxic and not bringing any value to your life, and not putting it in a transactional way. I think we talked about this a while ago. There are like four kinds of friends. It's my belief, at least. I'm not citing it from any other podcast. Um, which I said was acquaintances, people who you have a good time with, people who are there to have a good time with. Number three, people who are there on your good and bad times, who you can generally count on. And level four is like that's just your day ones. Those are people, no matter how many times you fight, no matter how many arguments you have, like they're just never going to be out of your life. And those are people, as long as they don't turn toxic, those are the people who are always going to be at a different level than everyone else. And so like different people bring different value into your life. And it's not in a transactional setting, but people do play different purpose in your life. And so as long as people are fulfilling that purpose, they are always worth having around. But if someone's not filling that purpose, and not only that, is actively hindering you as a person, hindering your progress and whatever else, then yeah, those people you definitely do not want to keep in your life. And you want to divert that energy into, again, spending more time with the people who are already there or making new friends. And it's never too late. I'm the kind of person who doesn't really believe in no new friends, like as our friend Drake would like to say. I like meeting people. I like listening to people's stories. I like connecting with new people. I feel like that's something I've realized about myself over the years. That and so, hey, if you want to be my friend, just hit me up.
Look at that pitch. Here, tell me this: comfort versus
Uh,
chemistry. When it comes to people, what's more underrated?
ooh,
Tell me this: if you can't be tired around someone, or is that person truly what you could call someone in your circle?
no, no. Yeah, I would say comfort is more underrated. Actually,
Facts.
you need,
Same here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think you and I, like we could sit in a car for an hour in silence and
Yeah.
not miss a beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Could not call for 2 weeks and then call and back to normal programming.
Yeah, I think comfort is definitely underrated. Like if you feel like you can take a nap around that person, then you're good.
Wow.
And I know you love your naps.
Bro, I love naps.
You fucking love naps. If I mean, for the people who don't know, if you don't let Naveed nap, you're in for a rude awakening.
But that's where comfort kicks in. I know someone that knows that I love napping will let me nap, and hence I am so comfortable to be like, "Yo, bitch, let me nap."
If you disrupt this man's sleep, you are going to see a different kind of Nav. He gonna become the rapper. He
I
gonna whoop your
apologize.
ass and make sure he gets that nap.
His studies indicate you need your sleep.
Yeah, LeBron James out here trying to get his fucking 11 hours of sleep a day.
With that, like one thing's for sure, whether whatever different type of relationship you have, the scope of it, you keep the ones that are real around. And that's that
Exactly.
aspect of knowing what to change and knowing what to keep, really.
Yep. You keep them whether it's the calendar turns to 2026, 2027, 2028.
Yeah,
You got to keep them. But
exactly.
speaking about napping, something else you should keep in your life, no matter what the year, is keep one thing you do just because you love it. Ideally, more than
Oof.
one thing. So Naveed, as we talked about, one of your things is going to be napping for sure. What else would you keep just because you love it?
This guy just embodied my whole personality around napping, which it does constitute. But one thing that I just do because I love it, honest to God, like I think it's like probably just playing organized sports, like in some shape or manner.
Yep.
Like I just do it
Uh-huh.
because I love to, whether it's inconvenient for me, whether no one's doing it, whether it's difficult to do it, whether your knees are telling you, yo, time, time's ticking. I just do it because I wanna. It's like almost more than a hobby at this point.
It's a love. It's a love. If you do something you love, you give yourself love. Is
Yeah.
how I put it. Right?
I'm not a baller by any means, but like when I just think about playing a sport or like in some organized manner, whether it's weekly or whatever, like I swear to God, like it just feels like feels like oxygen. It's just something that like escape from like whatever your day to day stuff is.
Exactly. I think that's the same for both of us when it comes to sports, specifically basketball, I would say, for you and I, but other sports too. Like we love competitive sports. There's something we love doing, and we do it just because we love it.
Yeah,
And I
nothing
think
else.
we talked about Toronto as a city. I feel like because of the competition in the city and the general hustle culture of the city, a lot of people try to turn everything into a side hustle. Like try to make money off of nothing's a hobby anymore. You got to turn into a side hustle. You got to be productive. You got to make money off of things. And I think that's just such a there's nothing wrong in trying to make money off of things if that's what you genuinely want to do. But you don't have to do it just because that's what everyone around you is doing. Sometimes it's okay to just want to be a DJ because you just enjoy music,
Exactly.
aka that's what I want to do. I'm trying to become a DJ. I've been practicing, but that's literally because I enjoy mixing music. I enjoy listening to different tracks. I enjoy thinking about what would get a crowd going if I were to actually play a live DJ set.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
only because those are the aspects I enjoy. I enjoy the aspect of performing. I enjoy the aspect of listening to music and keeping up with new music, not because I'm trying to make it into a side hustle. If it were to become one, great, but that's not my main goal. But I feel like a lot of people nowadays, when they start things, is either, oh, I want to go to social media, so I got to document everything. I got to travel, so I got to like make sure I make vlogs of my traveling so that I can post on social media and get a following off of it. I feel like again, I just go back to this. Social media has just taken over our lives in such a way where you can't just do things for the enjoyment of it. You can't just do things to be present
Yeah,
in the moment.
yeah.
Everything's got to be put up in front of a camera or for a show or to make money off of it in some way or to promote yourself. And we're just missing out on so much rich experience in just living life, doing the things that we love because of that.
Bro, you hit it on the spot. I think if you could do any one thing without the conscious of being like, I don't need to optimize it, I don't need to post about it, I don't need to think about turning it into a brand, and you just do it for the pure sake of doing it, that's how you know you're keeping that thing. Because it's just you and that thing.
Exactly. It's just you and the thing. And this is also us going back again on the concept of controlling your own life. If you're doing things because you're expected to or you're expected to make money off of it, or you're doing things for others' eyeballs that, oh, you want to show it on social media, you're just losing so much control over your own life because you're doing it for other people, not for yourself. And the moment you stop thinking that way and just do things because you love it, just for yourself, you feel so much more at control of your own life. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says about this thing that you're doing that you love. You do it, even if it's not good for you. I'll say it. Even if it's not something that's good for you, it's still worth doing if you truly enjoy doing that thing. And I would say no to drugs, kids. I'm not talking about drugs. I'm not talking about taking drugs.
I was like, yo,
Like
how far is he gonna push this?
no substance abuse, none of that. But do things. I'm mainly talking about hobbies.
Facts. And I think that kind of rolls into another thing when you think about doing things, for yourself. It's like the concept of keeping your standards. I think there's a there's quite the difference as you progress to your 20s into your 30s, like what the concept of standards, whether you want to call it self-respect or whatever. I think having standards is a form of self-respect for yourself. I think taking upon every opportunity or declining an opportunity does not mean that you are declining your standard. I think, you're just having boundaries and standards for yourself that pertain to
Yep.
you.
Yeah. With anything, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's relationships in life, whether it's commitments you have. I think by the time you reach your late 20s, early 30s, you get to a point where you do realize that, hey, I don't need to say yes to everything. And if there's something I don't like about my life, I don't have to keep that in my life. I can change that. And if you don't feel that way, that's something that's the first thing you should work on. How do you get to the point where you do feel like you have enough control over your own life where you can have a standard? Because yeah, at a certain point, you're gonna have 1,000 opportunities thrown at you. But maybe like let's talk about it from a career standpoint. Maybe you have an opportunity thrown at you that maybe pays more than what you're making now, but it's not in the direction of where you want your career to go. It's not something you enjoy doing, and you have to keep those standards. Money can be the thing that sways you into doing something that you're not truly wanting to do, and keeping those standards is having that selective ambition, maturity at the end of the day. Once you mature enough, you can be selective about how you want your life to go, not just career, even your relationships. Who do you want to stay in your life? And if you find that hey, you had set up a certain path in your life, but as you're going through that path, you're realizing, okay, this is not going to work. I have a better standard than this. And to have the courage to go from that and be like, actually, no, I got to put a stop to this because this is not going to serve me well in life. That's also maturity. Growing up enough to know where your grounding is and what you're not going to budge on.
I think jobs, relationship, or your lifestyle, generally speaking, just because you think you can handle something doesn't mean you should. That's the essence of it. And I realized the concept of like saying no, it can do wonders. Like I think it could save whatever the situation is, whatever circumstance it is, the ability to say no when you think you should, it can save freaking time. Like we're talking like the potential to even say years, like on something wrong.
Speaking of keeping your standards, I think what it all boils down to, and if you go back to the theme of our podcast, is one more thing to keep moving forward, no matter what the year is keep showing up. Keep showing up, no matter how imperfectly, for yourself, for the people around you, because most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they keep starting over.
Oof.
And
Wow.
so don't always think you need to start over on different things, try to do different things. Keep showing up for yourself, no matter how imperfect it is, and keep showing up, keep having that Game 7 energy, as we call it on the On 3 podcast. And that's something that you always got to keep.
Bro, look, you're so
That's
right
something that's
about
not
that.
changing.
Like, look at it from a sports angle. Like, look at all the greats. Like, do they magically just have breakthroughs? No, I think they follow through. You don't need to start over all the time. Sometimes you just need to keep working at what you've always known.
Yeah. And by starting over, I don't mean, so there's great showing up for yourself in starting over in the thing that you're doing over and over again, no matter how many times you fail. You fail once, you start over again. Fail twice, start over again. The starting over I'm talking about is like, just because you've seen the one failure, you start over into something completely different.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's what you don't want to do.
Yeah,
In order to
because
show
I
up for
think that
yourself,
results.
and you don't take failure and just be like, oh, this is not going to work for me. Whether it's, hey, you want to start a new business, no matter how many times you fail, keep starting over. You want to stop jerking off every day, no matter how many times you fail, keep starting over. Not the not jerking off part.
Boy.
Ramadan's coming up.
Yes, it
You
is.
fail to keep fast one day, it's okay. Start over. Just keep starting over and fasting every day,
Yeah.
no matter how many times you need to do it.
Yeah.
So even if you fail, don't take that as like an opportunity to just give up.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to show up for yourself. It's an opportunity to show yourself how much you love you, to show up for yourself. Again, to keep coming back for yourself, to keep that persistence, that grit going just for yourself.
Yeah. And I think living in a big metropolitan city where everything's so like fast paced, sometimes because consistency isn't like, you know, the thing that everybody wants to see, or let alone even yourself. But I think that is one key thing that does lead to success in such a rowdy environment where you see constant change everywhere. Consistency.
Exactly. Consistency is key. So now we're going to go into a bit of personal reflections. So keeping with the theme of keeping things instead of changing things in the new year, what is one thing you kept that quietly carried you throughout the beginning of this year?
This may be an interesting take, but I was okay with admitting boredom without shame. You know,
Nice.
some parts throughout the year. Like it's not the end of the world. Like it's hard to admit that you're not bored every day, or like, you know, there was like a month you went and you didn't do anything. Like that's fine. I mean, you shouldn't always have that case. I think that's when like you can dwindle and spiral into something you may not want to. But admitting that, you know, there's a sense of like stagnation across a part of time in your life, like throughout the course of a year, or they're just boredom, like it's fine. Like, but what's the next step?
And I think you hit on a good point there. And I think it's okay to be bored. It's okay to not have anything to do. It's okay. I feel like people have forgot how to be bored. Because think about it. For most of human history, if you had nothing to do, you actually genuinely had nothing to do. You didn't have a screen to look up on, go on TikTok and doom scroll for fucking days. You didn't have Netflix to just binge watch a random show. You didn't have, I don't know, random sports highlights to look at. If you were bored, you were genuinely bored. If there was no one around you to talk to, you just had to sit there in your own thoughts with nothing to do.
Yeah. Like I can tell you this for a fact. There are a few people in my life, including myself, I would say. Actually, maybe I don't know about myself, but like sometimes genuinely you work so hard, let's say, for example, throughout the course of your day with your day job, that you want to just come home and just, what do they call it? these days, brain rot, whatever,
Brain
right?
rot, yeah.
Yeah,
Brain rot
like
content.
that's it.
Doom scroll. Bro, the shit I see on social media now, it genuinely pisses me off. So speaking of, so I'll say one thing that I did that they have quietly carried me since last year is deleting all my social media. Oh my god, I've deleted the apps.
apps.
Like I don't have the Instagram app on my phone, the Facebook app on my phone, TikTok app on my phone,
Yeah.
nothing. And if I do need to access them, I still can through the Chrome browser, but it just adds a lot of layers of added blockers for me to get to it. And even if you do, the experience is not as great, so you're not likely to doom scroll. But that honestly has been such a game changer for me because I just felt at the beginning of last year that I was constantly, my mind was being pulled in different directions because I'd be doing anything random and I couldn't keep my fingers away from my phone. And it's like a habit. You just go and like, even when you're just standing in line doing nothing, first thing you do is pull up your phone, go check something on your phone. And I just like it got to the point where I was considering last year to just get myself a flip phone where I have none of these. Like, yeah, go back to a fucking throwback 2005, like,
Damn.
Nokia, whatever that those phones were, or those Motorola flips,
Yeah,
Z
yeah.
Flip or whatever it's called. It got to that point where I seriously considered doing that because then all I need the phone for is just calling and texting. That's it. But I realized I need Google Maps a little too badly, so I couldn't do that.
Wait, so tell me this. By deleting the social media apps that you did, but still having some sort of access to them, what did it induce for you?
So it let me still stay in touch with people. Like if I really needed to go on social media, I could. It's not like I was cut off from the world. But one thing I realized, and everyone, you guys should do this if you haven't done so yet already. You don't need to go as extreme as I did and delete all social media apps, but at the very least, what you should do is turn off notifications from those apps. So turn off notifications from Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever other apps you have, because these apps are designed to bring you back to them as much as possible. So they have push notifications that come at you every few hours just to get you back on them. So turn off those notifications. That in itself is going to reduce your how much time you spend on social media by a significant amount. And number two, if you don't want to delete the apps, at the very least, don't put them on the front page of your phone. Put them like buried deep in like the fifth page or something, so that it's hard to find and that's not the first thing you see as you open your phone. And as I said, what it did for me is it just made me so much more at peace mentally. Like my mind's not running at 1,000 different places. I feel like what it has robbed us most of all, and I noticed this in myself, is the ability to introspect. So, because what do we do when we're bored, when we have nothing to do? We just are lost in our own thoughts. We think about our life. We think about ourselves. We think about bettering our life. And we sometimes think about random shit. Either way, we're thinking.
Yeah.
But if we're always just looking at our phone, we're kind of outsourcing that thinking to someone else, to other devices. It's like, how people from here outsource all their jobs to Indians, like to brown man's halfway across the world. That's what we're doing with our thoughts. We're outsourcing them to a different place.
So you want to
And so
bring it
we
back.
we never think about our life. We've lost the ability to just think and be in our own thoughts and be lost in our own thoughts and be bored. And that's why we're doing that. And I think that's why boredom is important. And that's why the ability to be bored, where you're not distracted by other things, that's also important. So that's something I started doing last year. And I think that's definitely, I've seen a lot of benefits from it, just in terms of my ability to be present. And that's something I want to keep doing moving forward.
All right. Let me ask you this. What version of success are you questioning now? Was there something that you defined as success before that you contemplate now?
I mean,
I think for me, like some goals that I was not able to fulfill, I realized it wasn't a function of really like failure, but it was more of like expiry. Something that I set out for myself, like at the age of 21, as it carried out through time, it might have not pertained to me as much now as it did at that age. So for me to like not be able to fulfill it at whatever point in time now compared to back then, I don't think it's necessarily a function of just true failure, but rather just
what is it? You got to be
mindsets
more direct and specific,
specifically to like my professional being, right?
which is
This is usually the inverse. Most people have this like in early on in their career as opposed to later on, but like I truly recognized the importance of networking and like, having a network around you, not for the sake of, just like something that you can gain from, but like something just like a network that you have for yourself, right? And not only that you have for yourself, but you also being a network of for other people as well, right? And so it's interesting. Most people in their early 20s really focus on, emphasize on that. For some reason, like I took a very outlier approach where like I just wanted to kind of do everything by myself, not focus too much on like, you know, making a network around myself. And I was like, okay, maybe I can accomplish my goals that way. Nonetheless, as I progressed through time and I saw like, you know, what people around me were doing, and not just doing, actually like realizing the true value of it, right? Both giving and receiving. But but yeah,
You
that's
strike me as a giver.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know. We can have like a feedback forum. But that was something that changed over time. I was like, damn, it actually matters, and it came very naturally. Personality started to shift from being an introvert into ambivert. I think that's like the middle way, right? Shift in personality came the concept of networking.
And you feel like, so how does it change your definition of success?
My initial definition of success at that point in time was like, okay, do the things on paper that you're supposed to do. Like, for example, get an education, get good grades, yada, yada, yada. And then, quote unquote, like opportunities will show itself when you just go with that presented structure. Whereas, kind of, you know, as time progressed, I realized that's not necessarily the case. There are things over and above that might need to be done in an unstructured way for opportunities to come to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, so my definition of success has, I would say at the root, always been living up to what I believe my potential was. And which, when I was an undergrad in my late teens, early 20s, it was, I thought I had the potential to become a billionaire. And so that would have been my definition of success. And do I still feel like I have the potential to do so? Yes. But I think what has changed is from going from that one singular goal of, hey, I need to become a successful business and become a billionaire. It's more so become, I need to live out my potential on my day to day. Living out my potential, which is just showing up for yourself. And so it's more from being like this all encompassing goal that, you know, may or may not be realistic. But instead of that, actually taking the actions on a day to day, which help you live out your potential. If in a particular day, I feel like I've done the things that I've set out to do, that's a successful day for me. That means I'm living up to my potential. Like if I set out that, hey, I'm going to go to bed by 11, I'm going to have these meetings, I'm going to do these, I'm going to record this podcast today, I'm going to work on this side project today for 2 hours, I'm going to go play ball for an hour. And I'm not going to get distracted by anything else, and I'm able to do those things that I've set out for myself. That's the definition of success for me. I would say that's what it's morphed into now. And so I think I actually watched video of Kobe, rest in peace, where he was talking about failure, right? And he was basically like, for me, it's not about success or failure. It's about enjoying the process. It's about figuring out how I can, which spots I can go to better my field goal percentage. It's figuring out how I can guard this one guy to stop him. It's figuring out how I can run this play to make my teammate score. He's like, it was falling in love with the process that was success for me. And I truly feel like I'm coming to terms with that and learning that as I grow older, is that it really is about your day to day, about the process and enjoying that process and making sure that you feel like you succeed on the little tasks. It's not about succeeding overall. It's just about succeeding in the little tasks that you set up for yourself. And I think it again goes back to what we talked about earlier in the episode, which is a concept of control. If you do the little things in your day to day, you control those little challenges you've set out for yourself, and you're able to achieve those. You feel more in control. You feel like you enjoy the process. And that's really what success is to me now at the end of the day.
Doing things with intention as opposed to like urgency. There's sustainability to that function. Doing things in and day out. Do it enough times with intention, love the process, it will become a habit. When things become a habit, it's butter.
Exactly. So with that said, let's reframe the new year. What's a simple mental model that we can use moving forward, whether it's new year or not, in order to lead a meaningful life? I wouldn't say success, because meaning could be different to different people, but let's say a meaningful life. And based on what we talked about, what I would say is life isn't a reset. It's a continuation. It's going to continue no matter what day it is, no matter what year it is, no matter what month it is, what week, what season. Life goes on. We can't stop that. So life isn't a reset. It's always going to be a continuation. What January does is give you the opportunity to think about how you're going to play the first possession, going back to our Game 7 Game 7 energy. But that's really what it is. It's just the first possession. What happens throughout the game, you don't know. The other coach might decide to change up some coverages, and you have to adjust accordingly. But as long as you are enjoying that process, as long as you don't think about just winning it all in that first possession, because challenges are going to come your way. Things are not going to go as planned. The play you drew up, it's not going to go as expected. Someone might throw the ball out of bounds, or you might throw the ball off your feet. Whatever it is, as long as you know the process is still there, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter what day of the year it is, that's what you carry forward. That's what you keep. The things that have got you to this point, that have given you meaning in life, those are the things that are worth keeping and taking forward.
This whole concept of January coming and then what do you do with it? Life is a season. It's not a scoreboard, right? You go through the continuum, you pick up on what you did well and address what you can do moving forward. And main thing, you're never late. You can always start. And sometimes it's a quieter kind of success, but there's always a way to start again.
Exactly. And success isn't comparing yourself to others. Success isn't looking at social media, looking at LinkedIn updates, looking at your friends and think they're doing better than you. Let me tell you this. If you're still here, still curious, still trying, you're doing better than you think. And with that, on three, we out.